Toyota Prius or Honda Civic? Which hybrid hatchback should you buy? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. A little while ago, I made a video comparing the Toyota Corolla Hybrid against the all-new Honda Civic Hybrid. And even though the Corolla is a phenomenal car in many ways, it has a great reputation for being extremely reliable, it's well designed, fuel efficient, and offers terrific value for money. The thing is though, the new Honda Civic Hybrid offers most of the exact same benefits, plus it has much better performance, a lot more power, a lot more interior space, and it just feels like a far more substantial car overall, extremely well designed. It really is one of the best new cars that was introduced this year, and now that it's also available as a hatchback, it's time to see how it compares against the hatchback Toyota Prius Hybrid, which was my choice for the best new car of 2024. This is going to be a very close comparison. So let's start with the Civic, which as mentioned is offered as either a sedan or a more practical hatchback. You also get a choice between two different engines. On the base trims, the standard engine is a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine that comes connected to a CVT transmission. It produces around 150 horsepower, which is not a lot, but more than adequate for a car like this. It's very quiet, smooth, has terrific fuel economy, able to achieve up to around 40 miles per gallon or 6 liters per 100 kilometers, and this engine has an excellent reputation when it comes to reliability. So if you just want a simple, no-nonsense, reliable engine that's going to last a long time and is going to save you money and not cost you a whole lot, the base engine in the Civic is a perfectly fine choice. The two higher trims of the Civic, however, the Sport and Sport Touring, come standard with the hybrid engine, which is a huge upgrade in almost every way. The hybrid engine uses a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine with 2 electric motors and a hybrid battery. It produces 200 horsepower and 232 pound-feet of torque, which is quite a bit of power for a car like this. In fact, the Civic Hybrid is so powerful that it's actually quicker than the sportier Civic Si, which comes with a turbo engine. And not only that, but it produces phenomenal fuel economy. It's able to achieve around 52 miles per gallon or around 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers. So you get both incredible power and incredible efficiency. It's also an incredibly smooth engine. You really don't notice as it's transitioning between both gas mode and electric mode. It's very clear that Honda really knows what it's doing when it comes to making hybrids, which it does because it's been making them for well over 20 years. And this hybrid system, which is not only used in the Civic, but also the CR-V Hybrid and the Accord Hybrid, has a phenomenal reputation for its reliability. It's extremely well made and repair issues are extremely rare. So if you not only want a great performing and fuel efficient hybrid, but one that's also going to be very reliable and last you a long time, the Civic Hybrid is an excellent choice. And that brings us to the Toyota Prius, which is the true pioneer when it comes to hybrids. They've been making them longer than anyone else, and it really shows. The Prius Hybrid uses a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine combined with 2 electric motors, a planetary gear type eCVT transmission, and you can even choose whether to have either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, which is an option that's not available on the Civic. It's also a pretty close match to the Civic when it comes to power, producing 196 horsepower, and it has even better fuel economy, able to achieve around 57 miles per gallon or roughly 4.2 liters per 100 kilometers, which is pretty much as good as you can get. And because this is the 5th generation of this hybrid system, it's extremely refined and well proven. It's not quite as smooth and quiet as the hybrid system that's in the Civic, but it is pretty close. And because it's been around for so long, it also has a phenomenal reputation for reliability. In terms of quality issues, this is as well sorted as you can possibly ask for. Where the Prius falls a little bit short of the Civic Hybrid is the engine is not quite as quiet and smooth as the one in the Civic. In that area, it does fall a little bit short. And it also doesn't have quite as much power. It's able to accelerate to highway speed in around 7.2 seconds, which is very good, but still not quite as powerful as the Civic. So in terms of both power and refinement, it does fall a little bit short. That being said, it does have better fuel economy, so if that's what you're ultimately looking for, the Prius does a better job of that. And as mentioned, it gives you the choice of having either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, which is a very desirable option that you just can't get in the Civic. Another very desirable option that you can get on the Prius is the option of a plug-in hybrid. The plug-in hybrid uses the exact same hybrid system, only you get a much larger battery, which, when charged, is able to travel around 45 miles or 72 kilometers on electric power alone. So you get the benefits of driving an electric vehicle with that electric range, not using any gas, but you still have that super fuel efficient, well-proven hybrid system there as a backup just in case. The final advantage that you get with the Prius is its longevity and reliability. Now, as mentioned, the Civic Hybrid has an extremely well-designed hybrid system and has a phenomenal reputation for reliability as well. But Toyota is really the pioneer in this area. They've been making them longer than anyone else. Their hybrid technology is extremely well proven, extremely refined and well sorted. So problems and repair issues are virtually unheard of. And not only that, but you do get a better hybrid battery warranty with the Prius, a 10-year warranty as opposed to an 8-year warranty with the Civic. And even though at the end of the day, both the Civic and the Prius are extremely reliable, long-lasting cars, if you are the type of person that holds on to their car until the wheels fall off, say at least 12 to 15 years, when hybrid battery replacement could potentially become a concern, you are going to be a little bit safer with the Prius. Because Toyota hybrids are so much more popular and more common, it's just a lot easier to find a used hybrid battery or a good rebuild battery for a very reasonable price. Now, I will say that choosing between these two is not easy because these are both phenomenal driving cars. They're both incredibly fun to drive with excellent handling, excellent performance, and I've really been enjoying my time behind the wheel of both. Even though the performance of the Prius is phenomenal, something you would never expect to hear with a Prius. It has great handling, great power and performance. I will say that the Civic does feel like the sportier one of the two. Not only do you get more power, but it just has a nicer balance between both ride comfort and handling. And even though both manufacturers claim that both these hybrids have eCVTs, technically the Honda doesn't really have a transmission. Instead, it has the gas engine electric motors, which work together and actually help mimic the feeling of shifting gears as you accelerate hard, which not only gives it a much sportier feel in the Prius, but also makes it feel a lot more satisfying to drive. Not to say that there's anything wrong with the way the Prius feels to drive. It's an excellent driving car, but the Civic just feels like it's tuned a little bit better. I also appreciate the benefits of the Civic's interior over that of the Prius. Now, both cars do have very well designed interiors. They're extremely well put together, excellent fit and finish, and they both have excellent control setups. I like how in both cars you get conventional climate controls, which are very easy to use, and both cars also have straightforward touchscreen infotainment systems, which don't take very long to learn. The user interface on both is extremely good, although you do get a nicer touchscreen on the Prius, which comes with a larger display and a more modern looking interface. But either way, I have no real major complaints with the interiors of either car. Now, if you are buying these cars for their practicality, I will say the Prius is the far more spacious car between the two. It has more passenger volume, more interior space in the back, and it has significantly more cargo space. You get around 25 cubic feet of space in the Civic when compared to around 20 in the Prius. So if you are looking for the most spacious, usable car to carry all your stuff, the Civic Hatchback is going to be a far better choice. It's interesting because on the outside, both of these hatchbacks have very similar dimensions, and yet the Civic is the much more spacious one of the two. The Prius is just a little bit on the small size, but if that's not a bother for you, it's still a perfectly practical car. Now, with that, it's time to get into the pricing. The Civic Hatchback is priced from around $29,000 to $34,000 US, or around $33,000 to $41,000 Canadian. And the Prius Hybrid is priced a little bit higher, from around $30,000 to $37,000 US, or $40,000 to $46,000 Canadian. And if you want the Prius plug-in hybrid, that one is priced between $35,000 to $41,000 US, or around $43,000 to $51,000 Canadian. The plug-in hybrid is not eligible for the tax rebates in the United States, but it does qualify for the $5,000 federal rebate in Canada, which lowers the price to around the same price as the Prius Hybrid. And if you live in a province that has provincial rebates for EVs, well, you could get the plug-in hybrid for a significantly lower price than the regular Prius Hybrid, which really does make it an absolute no-brainer. Now, something I've been mentioning in a lot of my videos comparing Hondas and Toyotas lately is pricing is one thing, but availability is something else. And that's an area where Honda typically has a major advantage over Toyota. In many parts of North America, Toyota still has a major supply issue. And if you want to buy a Prius like many other Toyota hybrids, you may need to place an order and potentially wait a very long time, possibly up to several months, possibly even over a year, depending on your location. Whereas you won't run into that kind of issue with the Honda because it has much better supply. It's very easy to just walk into a dealership and buy one straight off the dealer lot without any kind of waiting period, which is a major advantage for the Civic. Like I said, you are really not going to go wrong choosing between these two cars. They are both phenomenally well designed. Both are extremely well made, they have phenomenal fuel economy, and they both have excellent reputations for longevity and reliability. And unlike the Corolla Hybrid, which does suffer from some performance issues, you don't have any of those kind of concerns with the Prius, which has much better performance, more power, and it also has the choice of all-wheel drive. It also has better fuel economy than the Civic. You have the option of a plug-in hybrid, which is a really nice option if you have a place to charge. It has a longer battery warranty on the hybrid battery, and as mentioned, if you're going to keep this car for a really long time, battery replacement is a lot cheaper and easier with Toyota hybrids. Having said all that, you just can't ignore that the Civic Hybrid is a phenomenal car, and in many ways, a better car than the Prius. It has a nicer driving feel with a better balance between ride and handling. It has a much more powerful hybrid system with more power, and it's also smoother and more refined. The interior offers a lot more space, especially a lot more cargo space, making this a much more practical car. The pricing is a little bit more attractive, and it has far better availability, which means it's going to be much easier to get a better deal on the Civic versus the Prius. So taking everything into consideration, even though I have to admit I really wanted to give this comparison a tie because these are both such phenomenal cars. If I had to pick one as being the winner, all things considered, it would be the Civic Hybrid, but only by the slightest margin. So there you have it. Now, if you had to choose between the Prius and Civic Hybrid, which of these two would be your choice and why? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at my other videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. And if you need any additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to visit carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.